everyone. My name is Ruth, and today Flat Aggie and I are going to talk with you about a special occasion that is held in April, and that is National Earth Day. It's on April 22nd, and it is held every year since 1970. Senator Gaylord Nelson saw that the pollution, the trash, everything that was going on in our country and around the world, and he thought that there needed to be a day that we stopped and thought about the pollution and the things that we're doing to our earth. So we're going to talk today about the 3 R's, okay? The 3 R's stand for reuse, reduce, and recycle. They all start with the letter R. Do you know the letter R? It is the first letter in the 3 words that teach us different ways to fight pollution. It is the R in reuse. This is how we spell reuse. It's the R in reduce. That's how we spell reduce. And it's the R in recycle. Reuse things that are still in good condition, such as your big brother's jacket. Reduce the amount of things we throw away, such as paper cups. Recycle old things to make new ones, such as a puppet out of an old sock. In the town where Paul lives, people throw their garbage bags into a garbage container at the corner. In the morning, a garbage truck empties the container and takes the garbage bags. Do you know where? The garbage landfill, or sometimes we call it the dump. And it is a huge place in the mountains or even in the countryside, far from the city. In Paul's town, however, there are so many people and so much garbage is produced that even the landfills are getting full already, and no one knows where to build anymore. So they have built a huge furnace. It's called an incinerator, and it burns all the waste material. Nobody likes to live close to it because the people think that the smoke coming out of the chimney is harmful to the plants, the animals, and the people. See all the smoke that's going into the air? That's probably harmful to the air, isn't it? At Paul's school, they have talked about the huge amount of waste that is produced in just one day, and they have decided to reuse as many things as they can. That means that now they will reuse every object many times. At his school, they paint both sides of the sheets of paper, use the empty cans of paint to keep paper clips and rubber bands in, and they use the pieces of paper left over to make wonderful collages. Do you know, or can you think of any other ideas? At home, everyone reuses as many things as possible. Paul wears the t-shirts that his big brother has outgrown and also plays with many of his older toys. Can you guess how many objects on the page may be used over and over again? Well, a hairbrush can be used over and over again. The shirt, skates can be used over again. The blouse, the backpack, the umbrella. Even the clothespin can be reused, can't it? Paul's brother outgrew his bike, and now Paul rides it. And since he has no use for his tricycle anymore, he has passed it to his cousin. So they're sharing their things, aren't they? Something else we can do at home and at school is try not to waste water or electricity, because this way we help take care of our planet. It seems very little, but a few drops of water from a leaky faucet could fill up a bathtub in one day. So keep the water and lights off when they are not needed. When Paul and his family go shopping for food, they take their own baskets or bags made of cloth. By doing that, they won't have to ask for plastic or paper bags at the supermarket, and that will reduce the amount of plastic and paper made by the factories. Reducing means using very little, only what you need. Plastic bags are very handy, but sometimes they end up in the sea, where they can be dangerous for animals. Turtles may mistake them for jellyfish and eat them, and they may get tangled up in the plastic rings used to hold the pop cans together. It's very important not to litter the ground, the woods, the beach, the ocean, or in the city. See all the trash and the animals that get hurt from it. At Paul's school, they throw all paper and cardboard into a special street container. Then a truck picks up everything and takes it to the paper mill, where used paper and cardboard is shredded and washed until it becomes a pulp that is wet and soft. With that pulp, they make paper again, and when it gets dry, they have recycled paper. I think you've heard of recycled paper before, haven't you? Practically everything can be recycled: paper and cardboard, plastic objects, glass, cans. All these things can be shredded, ground up, made into pulp, and then they go through a different process that makes them new drinking cans for our pot, new glass bottles and plastic containers. At school, we make plastic paper paste out of torn and wet old papers. Now these are things that are made with boxes and paper paste. There's another house, there's a chicken, there's a sun on that box. Paul's parents have told him that food scraps can also be recycled. All food that otherwise could be wasted can be made into fertilizer, which is food for plants. The fertilizer produced this way is called compost. The banana peels and lemon rinds that Paul has just thrown into the garbage may become food for the plants, like all food scraps can be. But if we want to recycle, we have to put the waste into containers. Now, in the kitchen at Paul's home, there is a container for things like plastic, for metal, and glass. So that's 3 containers, isn't it? And another for all the other garbage. All newspapers and magazines are neatly tied in packages so that they also can be recycled. So it says, what can be recycled on this page? Food scraps can be recycled. Newspapers can be recycled. Here's a plastic bottle that can be recycled. The Coke can be recycled. So there's a lot of things that we can use, and sometimes we don't think about it, but we can. At some schools, they also collect used batteries. The children have been told batteries may not be recycled and that they pollute a lot. So it's very important not to throw them into the garbage. That's why the children have made a special container for them. Once it's full, they take it to a recycling center where the metal from the batteries will be used to make new ones. The drawings to decorate the containers are the work of Paul's class. They did a good job, didn't they? If we waste less and recycle all we can, there will be less pollution and we will be able to live for a long time on our planet, breathing smokeless air, swimming in clear waters, and strolling through woods and in the countryside free from garbage. Paul thinks it's worth the effort. How about you? So we're going to talk about those 3 words that start with an R. Can you think of the first one that we talked about? It's called reuse. And reuse mainly just means if something's in still good condition, like your brother's clothes, your brother's bike, anything that can be reused by another person. So you may even go to a garage sale and find something there that is still reusable by you. Now when we talk about farmers, I always like to talk about farmers, we want to talk about how they reuse things. Now there's a farmer by Shell Rock, has 250 or 300 cows, and they milk them 3 times a day. When they get the cows in, they wash their udder, and instead of using paper towels to wash the cow, they use a washcloth. Each cow gets her own washcloth, and those washcloths are saved. They have a great big washer and dryer, so they wash those washcloths in the morning. When they are done milking, they dry them, and then they're ready for the next time that they milk the cows. So that farmer, instead of using all paper towels and throwing them into the garbage, is reusing cloth washcloths and saving the things that could be taken or thrown in the dump, in the landfill. So that's how that farmer reuses. Okay, the next R that we're going to talk about is reduce. And reduce just means using less of something. Might be when you brush your teeth, you don't have the water on, you don't waste the water, you reduce the amount of water you're using. Might be when you're watching TV and you're done watching TV, you need to turn the TV off, don't you? And maybe turn the light off when you're leaving the room that you're in. So you're reducing the amount of electricity you're using. And when we think about farmers, how do they reduce? How do they save? Well, one thing I can think about reduce is they've changed their way that they farm, and they no-till, or they don't use as much fuel in their tractors. They don't go in the field as many times as they used to. So they may only go through the field twice in the spring. So they're using less. They're reducing the amount of fuel that they're using on their tractors. They're reducing the amount of wear and tear on their tractors, aren't they? So they're reducing just like we do in town. What's the third word? Can you think of it? It's called recycle, isn't it? And this is the one you know probably the most about. Recycle is just taking old things and we change them and they are made into new things. So this might be old papers that are recycled. It might be plastic jugs, milk jugs that are recycled. They're taken and they're either shredded or boiled or made into a pulp, and then they can make recycled paper, can't they? They can make new milk jugs that are then filled and reused, aren't they? So let's think about, how does a farmer recycle? Well, the things that I can think about that a farmer does is, at our house, we have feed sacks. And if they're clean feed sacks, and they don't have any plastic in them, we can take, when we empty the feed sack, we can take the feed sack to the landfill, and they can be recycled, just like newspapers and just like paper that you are recycling at your school. The other thing that we can recycle is farmers get a lot of their seed corn in the spring, their soybean seed. You'll see these big plastic containers that the farmers have out on the fields. And those containers are cleaned out. We take them back to the person or the place that we got the seed from, and they're reused or they're recycled, and they're used for another year. So those are the things: reduce, reuse, recycle. Those are the things that we want you to remember on Earth Day, which is coming up on April 22nd. So So Flat Aggie and I had a good time talking with you about Earth Day today. Hope you remember some of the things we talked about, and I hope you use some of those things so that we can keep our Earth a clean planet. See you next time. Bye.